Well, Justin.
Josh Cooper.
This is episode 7 of the Maximize podcast.
Maximize podcast.
I'm Josh Cooper and you are?
I'm Justin Oman.
And what are we going to talk about today, Justin?
We are going to talk about cryptocurrencies, potentially NFTs. And so today I have a feeling I'm going to talk and you're probably going to play devil's advocate.
Yes. I don't say devil's advocate, but I have a lot of questions as well. And I know a lot of people have a lot of questions about cryptocurrency and what exactly that looks like in the world in general, and obviously real estate as well.
Here's where I would start maybe changing my mindset on it.
Okay.
So when I first heard of this, I was probably where most people are. You heard people talking about Bitcoin. They called it a currency. And so my brain goes, it's a digital currency, much like just trading from US dollars to Canadian dollars. How can it have value? And then you saw like the people that kept saying Bitcoin to the moon, Bitcoin to the moon. And you got more annoyed than you thought you could be intrigued. Like it didn't really make...
This is going to crash.
Yeah, it didn't really make too much sense. And then you watched it crash. You watched it go from like $18,000 to $1,000. And I was like, yeah, it's currency. It can't be worth anything. But I think the mindset shift you have to have on some of this stuff, and do research on the coins, figure out what they're for, is Bitcoin is more like investing in Microsoft. It's a currency, but it's more of a transaction marker in a technology. And so as that technology becomes more widely used and that coin becomes more desirable, the value of it goes up.
So that technology, would that be blockchain?
It's blockchain. It's a marker on the blockchain. So
Okay.
you can create a transaction on the blockchain. I think cryptocurrency is more like if you were buying a transaction with like a prepaid Visa credit card while also buying the technology of the prepaid Visa credit card all at the same time.
Okay.
That's a very rough comparison of it, but that's a little bit more of what it is. And I think if I would have understood some of that earlier on, I probably would have tried a little bit harder at purchasing it. Yeah. So, I mean, this is a gift card, so it's the same and it's not. So when you buy with a credit card, you're basically using digital currency anyway, right? I mean, it's going out of your bank, but what if that transaction with the credit card was buying you credit card technology at the same time? So, I mean, it's recording on a ledger. The credit card company owns that ledger. Like you get the statement that says what you spent. Bitcoin is like a credit card ledger that's not just between you and Chase or you and Visa. It's this global thing that can't be changed after it's made. So you purchase the currency that has a transaction marker, and then you use the currency to move into another wallet that has a transaction marker. And so I think that's, in my mind, the best, most straightforward, simplistic view of it that I can give. Obviously, that's like somebody can say that's not right.
Yeah. So I think for me, at least the beginning stages, because like I understand this a little bit. I would like to think that I understand this more than your average person because I have you around all the time talking about this. But a lot of the things that I see that kind of back people away, myself included, is the jargon, right? So like we don't understand the jargon. So like when you say blockchain, like I understand what it is, but nuts and bolts of what blockchain is, can you tell people?
Nuts and bolts. So if I had a really big legal ledger, like just pages and pages of line items with columns over and over, blockchain is kind of like, again, this is like best way to, I think, maybe visualize it. Blockchain is the technology of that ledger. So when things happen within it, it's recorded and it just stays there. There's so many things you can do with that. It's hard for me to even, after trying to read and figure things out about it, to wrap my mind around its
So why is that important?
Complete definition.
So why is that important?
It's what you can do with that technology. I think you can do, one, real estate. So if you make a transaction in real estate and you record it, you use a cryptocurrency to finalize that transaction as a smart contract. Now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are different. Bitcoin is not a smart contract ledger where Ethereum is a smart contract platform. So things are built on the Ethereum network as smart contracts, not to go too far in depth. But anyway, you create a contract within it. You finalize the contract by using a currency that's built on that network, and it stays. So then you could create a QR code that represents that transaction. So in the future, if I wanted to look up what happened in that transaction in the past, I could scan a QR code, and all those previous documents that got recorded in that contract would be right there. And so a use of that technology is it could speed up the legal side of things in real estate, like the title company processing.
Yeah.
Will it 100% eliminate the need for title insurance? So if you don't like title insurance, when you purchase title insurance, you are purchasing something that says if the title company missed a previous lien or an easement or something that could affect you and it wasn't brought up, you're buying insurance that says they're going to have to go back and fix it, right? So if this is recorded where you can scan it, where they don't have to go research and fold through files at the courthouse, it could make that, it could just change the game of that. I think there's even a way to probably use blockchain in education. Like what if you could complete a course and receive an NFT of that course and it's in the blockchain. So if you wanted to maybe apply for a job or a graduate certificate, like instead of waiting for transcripts, you could just pull up your wallet, your digital wallet on your phone and say, I have knowledge of these classes. And like, oh, that's the only knowledge we really need for this job. Glad you can show me like here right now on a completed course that you know how to weld. Like what if you can use it in education someday? And
so how easy would it be to, I know technology is great and technology is bad, especially with the older generation, obviously being a little more afraid of technology than we are, right? So like we bank online, we do, we do all these things online. How secure is something like the blockchain?
So the blockchain itself, and I may be wrong on some of these things. I might not be 100% right. But the idea of the technology is once something is recorded in it, it can't go back and be changed. That does not mean that some of these apps, softwares, coins, NFTs, something like OpenSea, which is a place you can go and buy NFTs. It doesn't mean that all of these platforms are 100% secure. Like you could still hack a platform, but it seems to me, from what I understand, is you can't change once the transaction has been marked.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that if your crypto wallet is connected online through your phone, that somebody can't somehow hack your phone. Or what you do a lot of times for transactions, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't, is they'll ask you to connect your wallet to a website, and you have to allow that website to grab your wallet so that you can use the things in your wallet to buy. I'm sure you can create a false website. I'm sure it can happen, just like in the beginning stages, people probably didn't want to put their credit card information in online. I'm sure you could connect your wallet where somebody could just pull coins out of it.
Yep.
So the base foundation of how all these things are being built, if we call that blockchain, I don't think that technology or that ledger of information has any issues with being like attacked or hacked. I think it's everything built in it. As it's new technology, things are going to be corrected.
So you kind of touched on something there. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but like you mentioned an NFT.
Yeah.
Do we have time to go into what an NFT is?
I think we do. I mean, it depends on which direction you want to skate. So this is probably going to sound silly. So your cryptocurrencies are technically like a token of a sorts, right? So NFT, the definition is non-fungible token. So it's kind of like a unique one-off. There's not like a whole bunch of coins. Most of the time, that non-fungible token is somebody is creating an image, a JPEG, a contract, and they're selling that contract, and that NFT is then recorded into the blockchain as an item. That has happened, and you know this, and this is something that you shared with me before I even saw it, is property can now be sold as an NFT. Mm-hmm. The way that works, if you've probably done some research, but I have as well, the way that works is what's being created as that token is actually documentation of the LLC, and the LLC has the ownership of that building. So what they're actually auctioning or selling for that property rights is the LLC itself and not the physical building. So there is some intricacies to it that I don't 1000% understand. I try to communicate with people trying to understand it more because, again, if you're going to record something in the blockchain and you can sell it in an open market like that, it has value in the future.
One of the cool things that I like about that is the first property ever that closed as an NFT was in Tampa, Florida. Maybe
in the States, that was the first one.
In the States was maybe 4 months ago.
It was in January or early February, I believe.
And so what that does
and they just did a second one last month.
Did they?
In Tampa.
Yeah. So you have this NFT, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. They have this NFT. It's basically, for lack of a better term, I'll use an image.
Sure.
You have an image of this house that once that house sells at a later date, the person who owns the NFT originally gets a small percentage of what that house sells for down the line.
Oh, yeah. So that's a great point. So I am working with some buyers, and we haven't had a chance to see a lot of things. But what they're looking to do is to buy commercial property, put it into a trust so that when they're gone, their kids and their grandkids have this property in the trust. If you have a significant valued property right now that you know you're going to have for a bit, put it in an NFT. And for the reason that you just talked about, when you create an NFT, it allows you to, right out of the gate, create a royalty fee. So you could set the royalty fee if you wanted to 50%, which means I sell my property to Josh. Josh owns my property, but Josh owns the NFT, which holds my property. Because Josh did not create the NFT, he can't really change some of the things in it. Again, somebody probably watch this and tell us we're wrong, but let's say for just common sense and argument's sake, Josh owns the NFT. Josh wants to sell it to Zach, hiding behind the camera. When Josh sells it to Zach, that royalty fee means I can get 50% of the cost of what Josh is selling it to Zach for. So the beauty of some of these things, and like my clients looking to buy the commercial property, if they would buy that commercial property, set up the LLC and make the trust the owner of the LLC, but put that NFT on that property, let's say in the future, that property becomes very valuable commercial land. Well, then somebody's going to purchase that NFT. Maybe they purchase, develop the land, so the LLC is kind of grown a little bit or changed, and then they sell it again. Their kids that were the original owners of that NFT are going to get a royalty on that payment. Now, there's a lot of things legally that I don't understand along the way because they haven't been developed yet. But again, for argument's sake and conversation's sake, that's an incredible thing to think about, that your land can go up in value. It can be sold. It could probably be developed and then resold again. And that second sale, you're going to create a royalty on.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
The concept's really cool.
The concept is really cool. It's understanding the concept and the legal recording of that kind of catching up to what the technology can do. Because there's a lot of things we can say that this is how it works. But if you can't record it legally or properly, then it can create a mess in the future. So I wouldn't be scared of it because of that. But we can't tomorrow just go out and sell everything as an NFT. Like it just can't happen quite that quickly. Yeah. But we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's been talked about.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for that. If you guys have any more questions about NFTs, blockchain, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, Justin is a great resource. You are crypto certified real estate agent, correct?
Yeah. So with a company called Proppy. Proppy is actually the proprietary software owner of a blockchain transaction management company in the blockchain. And they are the company that has done the only NFT sale of properties.
Yeah. So maybe Zach can we put like a link to Proppy so people can...
Yeah, we can probably get a link to Proppy or even a link to maybe an article about those Tampa sales.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Good way to get it in there. Yeah, and so like you had mentioned, like if people have questions about it, this has become a little bit of a hobby of mine. Yeah. Like I can't I want to say I can't obsess about it because I probably do.
It is an obsession for you.
But it's fun, and so I like seeing the potential of things, and I think that's where you and I can go very well together in business is you like to see where things are and come up with ideas, and I love to take those ideas and create real potential out of things. Like, so some of my conversations with Zach, I love to see what Zach is doing with his art and talk to him about where it could be potentially, what he's doing with our media and what he could do as a career potentially out of it, creating consulting even with how to do different real estate media as he learns to become more successful and he marks his numbers. And so part of the excitement out of cryptocurrency is, one, it's fun when you buy something and it goes up in value, let's be honest, but I've also bought things that have gone down in value. I think the potential of the technology is what makes it kind of fun for me. So I like talking to people about it or helping them set up a wallet and buying something for the first time. Just I think it's intriguing. Don't just go blow thousands of dollars into something if you don't understand it. Actually, are you familiar with Kevin O'Leary, one of the guys on Shark Tank?
He's the real mean guy, right?
Yeah, the guy who's meaner. Yeah. So they were interviewing him at like the Bitcoin Miami thing that they had last month. And so his suggestion is, yes, you should get into it, but expect to lose money out of the gate, because you have to learn what you're buying and understand why you're doing it. And even then you might learn some, but you're essentially, and he even worded it this way, he's like, you're buying stock in a technology as you purchase these coins. And so as that technology becomes more successful and more utilized, the value of those coins is going to go up.
Yeah, that's great. I love the idea. And you are definitely driving the force here in the area for sure. I don't know if there's any other crypto certified real estate agents.
I don't know either. I think the technology is so new. There's not even a website to look at it on.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Again, I'm Josh, and that guy's
I'm Justin.
Justin, and this is the Maximize Podcast. Episode 7 is now done.